The world of work is changing so fast. Some companies want everyone back in the office full-time, while others are going all in on being remote. But is there maybe a better way?
Yeah, it seems like there could be a third way.
Today, we're going to be exploring a different way of working, a way that's attracting some of the best talent and leading to some really interesting innovations.
That's right.
It's not just about where people work.
Yeah.
It's about rethinking how we even structure work. And Sandbox AQ is a really cool example. They're using AI and quantum computing to solve these really complex problems.
Yeah, Sandbox AQ offers a really interesting case study for how to structure a company in this new world of work.
Their CCC model, which stands for collaboration, customer, and community, it's all about breaking down the way we traditionally think about work to get better outcomes.
Exactly.
And to help us kind of unpack this, we have Jack Hidd, the CEO of Sandbox AQ, and Nadia Heron, who's the general manager of AI simulation at Sandbox AQ.
Sandbox AQ's argument is that the whole office versus remote debate, it's kind of a false choice.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them can fail if they're too rigid and they lose sight of what really matters, which is results.
Yeah, it's not about where you are, it's about what you're doing.
Exactly.
So instead of focusing on where people work, Sandbox AQ focuses on what needs to be accomplished and how they can best achieve those goals.
Right.
And it seems like their CCC model is a key part of that. So let's break that down.
Okay.
And let's start with collaboration.
Sandbox AQ brings together people from all different kinds of fields, even though they have a globally distributed team.
Wow.
And instead of forcing people to relocate, they create these hubs of talent wherever the expertise already exists.
That's smart.
Right.
Especially in today's job market. It makes sense to tap into the talent that's already there rather than trying to make everyone move to one spot.
Exactly. And they really focus on making sure that there's a collaborative environment where people from different disciplines can work together.
Yeah.
For example, they've got PhDs and engineers working together to make sure that scientific discoveries can be turned into software that can scale.
It's interesting that their focus on the customer is equally interesting. It's not just about the transaction. It's more about building a real partnership.
Right. It's about understanding their customers' needs and challenges.
Yeah.
There's this great example where a team from Sandbox AQ actually spent weeks living and working with the U.S. Air Force to help them develop a navigation system that didn't rely on GPS using AI and quantum sensors.
Wow, that's going above and beyond what you would expect from a normal client relationship. It's almost like they're becoming part of their customer's team.
Exactly.
So we've talked about collaboration, we talked about customer. Let's talk about the community aspect.
Okay.
Sandbox AQ seems to understand that having a sense of belonging and support is really important, especially for people who work remotely.
Yeah, they have this work where you thrive philosophy,
Yeah.
and it's all about letting employees build their work life around their own personal support system.
That makes a lot of sense.
And they also have unlimited vacation policies
Oh, wow.
because they treat their employees like adults who can manage their own time and workloads.
They trust their people.
Yeah.
I also read that Sandbox AQ has these offsites in really cool locations to bring their teams together for some really focused strategy and collaboration.
Yeah. And Nadia Heron talked about how getting out of your comfort zone, like physically, being in a new environment can help people solve problems and be more creative.
I can see how that would work.
Yeah.
And they choose university towns for these offsites on purpose because they want to take advantage of all that intellectual energy and atmosphere.
Yeah, they're really trying to create something special that goes beyond just a normal office outing.
Yeah, it's more immersive.
Yeah, and it seems like it leads to a different kind of energy and output than what you would get in a typical office setting.
Makes sense.
It's about having those bursts of focused collaboration instead of the daily grind.
Yeah, and speaking of how they work, Sandbox AQ's leadership model is really interesting too.
Yeah, they have this thing they call service leadership, where the senior leaders see their job as supporting and enabling their teams instead of just giving orders from the top down.
It's kind of like flipping the typical leadership pyramid.
Right.
And it goes back to their idea of empowering employees to take ownership and become ambassadors for the company.
And they even provide media and presentation training to all their employees so they feel comfortable sharing their work and representing the company to the public.
It sounds like they really believe in their people.
Yeah.
But all this makes me wonder, is Sandbox AQ's CCC model just a better way to work? Or are they actually doing something fundamentally different?
That's a great question. And their work applying AI and quantum computing to real-world problems suggests it might be more than just a nice perk. So let's talk about that next. Sandbox AQ's work applying these technologies to real-world issues like navigating aircraft without GPS and breaking down those harmful forever chemicals makes me think it might be more than just window dressing.
It's amazing how they're using these super advanced technologies to solve problems that have real consequences. It's not just theory.
Exactly, and their work on forever chemicals is a great example of how they use quantitative models.
Oh, I'm really curious about those models. They seem to be a big part of what Sandbox AQ is doing. Can you explain a little bit more about what they are and why they matter so much?
Sure. Quantitative models, or LQMs, are different from those large language models, or LLMs, that most people have heard about.
Okay.
LLMs are really good at generating text, but LQMs are based on the laws of physics and first principles. So Sandbox AQ can use them to simulate matter at the molecular level, which is leading to breakthroughs in areas like drug discovery and materials science.
So unlike LLMs, which work mostly with language and information, LQMs are designed to understand and manipulate the basic building blocks of our physical world.
You got it. And Nadia Heron, who leads AI simulation at Sandbox AQ, talked about their work breaking down forever chemicals as a perfect example. These chemicals are super hard to get rid of, and they're a real threat to the environment. But Sandbox AQ, using LQMs, has made some real progress in figuring out how to break them down.
So it's like they're not just relying on existing data, they're actually making new discoveries by simulating these complicated processes.
Right, they're going beyond analyzing data and moving into the realm of scientific discovery using computational tools. This ability to simulate and experiment in a virtual world could really speed up progress in a lot of different areas.
So it seems like Sandbox AQ doesn't just see AI as a tool for automation, they're using it to enhance human abilities and push the boundaries of research.
And what's really cool is that they don't see AI as a replacement for human workers. They see it as a partner that can handle things like coding brainstorming and data analysis, which frees up human employees to do more creative problem solving and higher level thinking.
So it's this idea of humans and AI working together, each doing what they do best, which could change how we think about jobs altogether.
Exactly. And this raises some big questions about the skills we'll need in a future where AI is everywhere. And Nadia Heron stressed the importance of constantly learning and adapting.
She's got a point, because the skills that are in demand today might be outdated tomorrow. So we need to be ready to learn new things and embrace new technologies and ways of working.
And Jack Hidd, with his understanding of the bigger economic picture, he actually predicted that global GDP could double soon thanks to AI fueling innovation and productivity across different industries.
Wow, that's a pretty bold statement. And while some people might be skeptical, it's hard to ignore the potential of AI to drive massive economic growth, but it also makes you wonder about the potential downsides.
Absolutely, because such rapid growth could disrupt things in a big way. And that makes us ask what happens to the people whose jobs are replaced by AI, and how do we make sure that everyone benefits from this AI revolution?
These are questions we need to figure out. Now, it's not enough to just focus on the technological advancements. We also need to think critically about how this will affect society and the economy, and we need to prepare for the changes that are coming and ensure that everyone benefits from this AI revolution.
And this brings us back to that Triple C model again. While it's designed to promote innovation and success, it also puts a strong emphasis on the human side of things. That focus on community support and empowerment could be super important for dealing with the challenges of a world where AI is everywhere.
So it sounds like Sandbox AQ isn't just adapting to the future of work. They're trying to shape it in a way that's good for both individuals and society as a whole.
We're shifting gears a bit to talk about the wider impact of AI. We need to consider the ethical implications of this technology.
You're right. As AI gets more powerful and more common, we need to start asking some tough questions about how to develop it and use it responsibly and fairly.
These are complex issues that need careful thought.
And it's not just a conversation for tech people. We need everyone to be involved, policymakers, ethicists, and the public. We need to have a broad societal dialogue about the ethical side of AI.
This conversation needs to happen now before AI becomes so deeply woven into our lives that it's too late to make changes.
So while AI offers all these amazing possibilities, we have to approach it carefully and make sure we're committed to ethical principles.
The future of work, driven by AI and other new technologies, presents us with both incredible opportunities and serious challenges. It's a future that we need to actively shape, making sure that it works for humanity and not the other way around.
We've been talking about Sandbox AQ's unique approach to work and their really groundbreaking work with AI. But let's zoom out a bit and think about what all of this means for the future of work in general.
Yeah, it's like we've been looking at the individual pieces of a puzzle, like innovative company models and AI advancements, and now we need to see how they all fit together in this bigger picture of the changing workplace.
We've talked about how AI could create new jobs and boost productivity, but we can't ignore the concerns people have about AI replacing human workers.
Yeah, that's a real fear that a lot of people have, and it's something we need to address head on.
So how can we manage this transition so that everyone benefits? How do we make sure that the benefits of AI are shared fairly and that people whose jobs are replaced aren't left behind?
It's a complex issue that needs a proactive approach. We need strong education and training programs that help people develop the skills they need to succeed in this world where AI is becoming so important.
And it's not just about technical skills, right? It's also about adaptability, critical thinking, and creativity.
Yeah.
Those uniquely human qualities that will become even more valuable as AI takes over more routine tasks.
You're absolutely right. We need to focus on developing the skills that work well with AI, the skills that machines can't easily replicate.
And along with education, we also need to rethink our social safety nets and the support systems to make sure that people who lose their jobs because of automation have the resources and opportunities they need to transition into new roles.
It's about creating a society where everyone feels secure and has a sense of purpose regardless of their job or income.
This brings us back to the human element of work. Because even as technology changes, the workplace work isn't just about economic output, it's also about meaning, connection, and fulfillment.
It's about feeling like you're part of something bigger than yourself, being part of a community, and finding meaning in what you do every day.
And that's why Sandbox AQ's focus on community and their Triple C model is so important. They understand that having a supportive and inclusive work environment is essential for both individual and organizational success.
Their approach suggests that the future of work isn't just about keeping up with new technologies, it's also about creating a workplace where people feel valued, supported, and like they belong.
It makes you think about what's the real purpose of work in a time when automation is on the rise. If AI can handle so many of the tasks that we do now, how do we redefine our roles and find meaning in our work?
It's a really big question. Some experts believe that this shift will give us more freedom to pursue things that are more creative and fulfilling. We might even see a comeback of the arts, crafts, and other forms of human expression that have been kind of pushed aside while we've focused on efficiency.
That's an interesting thought. A world where work is less about earning a living and more about passion and purpose.
It could lead us to rethink what we consider success. We might start to value things like creativity, empathy, and community engagement more than traditional measures of success like how much money you make or your status.
It sounds like we're at a turning point in how we think about work and its role in our lives.
And as we explore this new territory, it's important to remember that the future of work isn't set in stone. It's something that we can actively shape through our choices and actions.
It's a call to be mindful and intentional about the kind of future we want to build.
And that brings us to our final thought. If work is no longer just about making a living, what will motivate us to get out of bed every morning? What will give our lives meaning and purpose?
Those are questions we all need to ask ourselves. It's a personal journey of exploration and discovery.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I encourage you to think about these questions and imagine the future of work that you'd like to see. What role do you want to play in making that future a reality?
The possibilities are limitless. The future of work isn't something that just happens to us. It's something that we create together. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the future of work.
We hope this conversation has encouraged you to think critically and creatively about the changing world of work and the role each of us plays in shaping a future that benefits all of humanity.